What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Warren Watches Wrestling back at you with another video. And today we will be talking about NXT. Now, I know a lot of people don't make videos on NXT because it probably won't get the most views. But I mean, we're a new channel. We need to start new things anyway. So I am going to go over NXT, especially this week, because this was an important week for obvious reasons. Also, if you do want me to review more NXT, I absolutely would love to. I do watch NXT every single week, so I would not mind reviewing it. It also is very easy to do. I don't have to come up with ideas. I can just talk about the show and what I liked, what I didn't like, and where I see things moving forward, which is very simple and very simplistic. So today I'm going to recap NXT and talk about, is NXT back? Because this episode kind of revitalized a lot of things. So we'll see where NXT is moving forward, which is why I wanted to pick this week ahead of most weeks. If you do enjoy, drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know what you'd want me to see videos of moving forward. Hit the subscribe button. We're up to 16. So, hey, we're on the move. We're moving up in the world. So definitely drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this video. If you want more of it, would love to make more of it. Without further ado, let's start off this episode of NXT. We kicked it off with a match that was Lizzie Rain taking on Izzy Dame. That's a hell of a combination. And Izzy Dame was teaming up with Nico Vance, and Lizzie was supposed to be teaming up with Sean Spears, but he wasn't there. So start of the match, it was just Lizzie Rain on her own. EK Prosper's music hits. He comes out, makes a save. It actually was a very, very fun match. You know, mixed tag matches, in my opinion, usually aren't that great just because it is one-on-one match times two, because most time, you know, the men aren't putting their hands on the women. The women had some good move against the men, like when Izzy Dame hit that crucifix over the top and slams them. The crucifix bomb, I think is what it's called. She hits that. We had Lizzie Rain have a good move against Sean Spears and him with a couple moves. So all in all, it was pretty good actually tag team wrestling going on in the match, which was a good sight to see. So it was a good way to start the show off. I think NXT sees a big future in EK Prosper. They continue to give him wins. I thought Keanu Carver was going to destroy him. No, they had EK Prosper beat him twice, I believe, and then he only lost to Carver because Carver hit him with like a roll-up and beat him with a roll-up technique. So they definitely are protecting EK. So I think they see a big future in him. So I would not be surprised if he got pushed into like the North American title picture relatively soon. He's like, it's crazy to say he's a Javon Evans Jr. when Javon Evans is literally like, what, 21 years old? But he's like a young Javon. So they found their replacement for Javon Evans. On the bottom half of the screen, you kind of see we went back to Kendall Gray. Ren were backstage, and Kendall was getting her ear worked on because she did get it ripped open last week. I haven't seen no reports about it, like it was not supposed to happen. Maybe she did plan it just to rip her ear apart, but I don't know. It was a brutal bump, so clearly she's going to use it to the advantage and make it seem like it is an actual injury, because if the champion's going to have a match and she's a babyface, we have to nerf her. That's a WWE rule. We have to nerf our champions. But we were moving on from that. We had Callie Armstrong come out to the ring, cut a promo. Callie's character work, definitely could use some polishing up a little bit. You know, definitely could use some work. She has a look, definitely has a look to her, but definitely needs to work on the character work a little bit. She got cut off very, very early from her promo by Kalani, and Kalani kind of came out and said, I still have never gotten a chance for the NXT Women's Championship, which is true. She never has gotten a chance for it. She did pin Callie Armstrong, I believe is what she keeps saying. She pinned her a couple weeks ago, and she wants to fight Kendall. And so Kendall kind of just came out, said she talked to Rob Stone, and she's going to fight her at Heatwave. Oh, okay, that was simple enough. It was kind of weird having this segment with Callie there, because you're like, okay, so what are we doing with Callie then if she's just not even in the match? If they were going to have this match on an episode of NXT, clearly she's going to interfere to set up the triple threat. But them having this at Heatwave, it doesn't really make sense for her to interfere at Heatwave unless they are going to pull the trigger and give it to Lani, which if they do give the title to Lani at this point in time, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd be happy for Lani. I just don't see Kendall losing it right now. I think once Kendall drops his title, she's getting called up. I literally think, even though she's as brand new as she is, I really think as once she drops that title, she's going to get called up to the main roster. Heatwave is NXT's version of like SummerSlam, and they're trying to put it up against AEW All In, which I think is such a terrible move because All In is just a bigger show overall. But Heatwave is going to probably be a pretty loaded card, so they put this match on the card, and this match will most likely main event, unless, well, maybe something else, but we'll talk about that at the end of this video. But yeah, I was absolutely okay with this segment, but you know, heels being heels. They went to beat down each other. They hit Kendall by accident. you can say. But they hit Kendall, and then they just start jumping these two. This obviously was just a way to set up a tag match for next week, which is what they did. They set up Ren and Kendall taking on Lonnie and Callie for next week. So we'll get these four, and we'll get the can they coexist between Kalani and Callie, and most likely we'll get one of them picking up the win over Ren to set up their feud moving forward. This match was also announced. We had Rob Stone on the phone with Rey Mysterio. They're talking about, they want to get involved with AAA. Since AAA is doing the tournament for Roman, why can't they do a tournament for the Cruiserweight Championship for Rey Fenix, or Rey Fenix, as they were calling him. So maybe it is, you do say Fenix. Maybe that is his name. I'm sorry if I've been calling it wrong. But they want to set the feud for Fenix. El Parca makes sense. Romeo makes sense. EK makes sense. Trish and Angel kind of just doesn't make sense to me. The rest of them are all high flyers. They're high flyers. They are, or luchadors from AAA. So they all make sense. So this match is going to bang next week. Absolutely is going to bang. I think they're going to give it to EK. Like I said, they see a future in EK. So I see them kind of giving him this match so he can go against Rey Fenix for a big match. So that would be my prediction there. But yeah, this is absolutely be a fun match because all four of these guys can go in the ring. Well, three of them can. I'm not really too familiar with Trish and Angels. He hasn't shown me anything yet, but the other three can absolutely. Romeo can go in the ring. I've seen that. We also have Vanity Project backstage. I didn't put a clip of Vanity Project talking, but they were talking to Rob Stone. They wanted to get another match. They wanted to get their rematch going on. And then they kind of set up the stipulation, which I don't know how Shiloh got involved in this with any part of it. But they say, Jackson Drake, if you win your match next week, you'll get a North American title match, and the rest of Vanity Project will get the tag title match rematch. What does Shiloh have to do with any of this? I don't know. But if Jackson Drake wins, they will set that up. And they kind of hinted like this was going to be at Heatwave for the rematch and for the North American title. And if that is the plan, it makes sense because now we can tell the story of Tavion so focused on being fighting champions that he's going to have Miles Bourne be like overly tired because now Miles Bourne will have to defend 2 titles instead of 1. And there's a possibility that he will walk into Heatwave a double champ and walk out with no titles. So I do see Jackson Drake winning this match. I think Vanity Project has it. They have it all. I know WWE sees a lot in Shiloh Hill. Clearly they push him. They let him get his little weird vignettes or promos or whatever it is every single week with him just recording himself doing weird stuff, but they let him do that every week. But Vanity Project, there is money behind them. These are guys that you hate, that you just hate, but not the way that people don't like Cam because he's actually cringy. These guys want to be overly cringy, so you hate them, but I think they're good at what they do. And in ring wise, they're terrific. So I do see them winning all their titles back. This feud, as much as I do like Deion Lennox and I like Sugar, but this feud, I thought this feud was over. They already had their street fight. They've had all these run-ins with each other. They're continuing to run this feud. It's like these two aren't doing anything else but feuding with each other. And clearly after how this match ended with them beating down Saquon, Grayson Waller getting in Saquon's face, and he goes out and starts beating up all of them with a bat again. Clearly the feud's not over, and I'm assuming we're going to get another street fight, most likely, or something like that in those regards at Heatwave. I wouldn't be mad if they did say, screw it, let's just give NXT a Hell in a Cell match. That would be fire. That would be dope, because I'm not sure last time NXT, if they ever have, had a Hell in a Cell match, but that would be dope if they actually did that. And this is one feud that can have it. They have actual blood feud with each other. Let them go all out. These guys want to go all out. They're both absolutely talented. I think both these guys have an absolutely bright future. They both have it. Saquon, we got to take that beginning of your entrance out of there because that's insane. I want to see Saquon is absurd. It's just insane to have that in your intro. The song itself is not terrible, but we need to take that out. Other than that, this feud, like I said, this is a fun feud, but I'm ready for it to be over so they can both go on and do different things. So set up this match. I want to see Hell in a Cell. So give me that at Heatwave and we'll be perfectly fine. And that would add to what could be a really, really fun card. But like I said, they went on, they brawled, he had a bat, so he started beating up Deion with the bat. And they interfered in like the Ren and Zarya match, which was really random. But they come in, Ren drop kicks Deion, I want to say. She drop kicks someone and then turns around, gets hit with a spear, gets hit with an F5 or whatever Zarya calls it. Zarya picks up the win. It was in all honesty, it was a very sloppy match, which kind of sucked because Ren is a good worker. She has bad moments, but she is a solid worker. So is Zarya, but their chemistry was just very off in this match. But Zari wins, and that kind of sets up their feud moving forward. Then we had Cam beat Mason Rook, and I don't get this. Call me a hater, but I think Cam is just overly corny. Like he's just overly just it's cringe to watch his that he comes out to, the way he talks, his promos, uh his whole confidence. He doesn't really look confident. He looks like he's just playing a character. He doesn't actually feel like he is the character. And I know he is playing a character, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't actually seem confident. Everything he does just is very corny and cringe to me. And I do think Mason Rook is just overall the better, brighter star in the future. And Mason Rook is built like this big tank and can't pick up a win over Cam just because he got thrown into the turnbuckle. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why we're pushing Cam. I think he should go back to Evolve, but that might just be the hater of me. Anyway, not really much to talk about here. I don't see any future here at all unless a lot changes. But wishing him the best, but right now, not my cup of tea. Then it was time for obviously the biggest talking point, the main event. Going into this match, I was kind of low-key excited to see who they were going to pick because obviously you just brought in Santana from TNA. I mean, we've seen how they treat the guys that they bring in from TNA. Not that great. I mean, on NXT, they treat them well, but, main roster, we see what's happening to Joe Hendry currently and Jordan Grace for that matter. So maybe you probably should have stayed. Like I said, Santana, to me, he doesn't do anything for me. I think it's just really tiring. Like Grayson Waller even said, to come out and cut I'm from the Bronx. I had to work to be here. I had 2 decisions, the streets or wrestling. And I feel like I've heard him cut that promo like 5 times and not even watch TNA. And I've heard that same promo said over and over again. We need to talk about something else every once in a while. So I was kind of assuming Grayson would get the win because, WWE wants to chase media. They want to be the talking point. And Grayson Waller was a talking point of NXT last week or 2 weeks ago. He is the absolute talking point that everyone was talking about. So if he can get you views, probably should give him the win. And I thought, in all honesty, he was going to be getting the world title. Match itself was a very, very solid match. They had pretty solid chemistry, good back and forth moments. Match itself was solid all and all through. But, obviously the talking point is not about the match. It's about the debut of Zilla Fatu. And yes, Zilla Fatu will be his name in WWE, which I am glad to see. Because we see them with other people, they like to rename them to whatever. We're just should be happy he's not named, ZF Mateo or whatever the hell it might be, like they did to JC, or name him something stupid. But Zilla Fatu is there. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and act like I know all of Zilla Fatu's work. Obviously, I know the last name, and I know he's a part of the bloodline, and he's Umaga's son. I know the basics of it, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I've watched Zilla Fatu matches before. I haven't. I've seen clips, but I haven't actually seen a full match. But what he showed me here, he looks like, not to say he's his father because he's not as big, but he has that bulldozer kind of mentality to him, running through people. He can jump off the top rope. He looks like a killer in the ring, so I'm excited to see what he can do and to see what he is in NXT. And I do like the decision to put him in NXT because this is what NXT needed. They needed a rebrand. They needed new people to come in. We added Grayson Waller, who might be a call down or might be depromoted from the main roster, but I think he is a good fit in NXT. We bring over Cruz Santana, which was probably needed because they need someone that can go after that title right now. And now we bring in Zilla Fatu, who I'm assuming is going to run through the division. They're going to give him a title. The only thing is he could very well be like Solo, where he goes on NXT just for a little bit and he'll probably be called up by the end of the year. Right? Like he might make an appearance at the Royal Rumble. I think if he does interfere in Money in the Bank and take out LA Knight, that would be pointless to even have him debut in NXT if he's going to get caught up in a month or so. So I don't think he's going to take part in the LA Knight feud because I think he has to run and do his due justice in NXT. I posted this one because I had the Grayson Waller tweeting it. Just what WWE needs, another overrated Oos because obviously he just got screwed over by Zilla Fatu. So I don't know if they're going to run a triple threat number 1 contenders match or if they're going to have a fatal 4-way or if it is just going to be Zilla taking on Tony. But I do see Zilla making his debut. Not maybe it'll be before Heatwave, but he will most likely win the title at Heatwave. And I see them just pushing him to the absolute moon. He's going to come in, probably run roughshod and take everyone out. And that's going to be what NXT needs. They need it more to their men's division. And right now they add it more over just the last couple of weeks, we've added 3 new names, main eventers to the division. We still have to work on building the division up and building up new guys. And I think that's what we're doing with the Jackson Drakes and the EK Prospers of the world. I do see a future with those two. Like I said, Sugar and Dion could absolutely be in the main event scene whenever you want them to, or they could go win the NXT North American title as well. So we are reloaded. The division doesn't suck. I think they just have to start pushing the right guys. And like I said, once Dion and Sugar get out that feud, you can push them to a single stars. And I think they are main eventers once they actually allow them to be. And Miles Bourne, he might drop the title to Jackson Drake if you want to send him to the main event scene. He's good in the ring. I still think he could use a little bit more character work, but he'll be there in a little bit as well. But right now, the main event scene is most likely just going to be about Zilla Fatu. Because once again, WWE is all about one thing: the bloodline. If you are a part of the bloodline, if you can be in the bloodline, you will get TV time, screen time. You'll most likely be winning matches and winning championships. Think about the bloodline. Everyone in it has won titles, is on TV every week, has single gold. Other than Jimmy, he's the only one that has never won singles championship, but the rest of them have. And I mean, 3 of them have world titles, with, if you count Sammy, Roman, and Jay, all have world titles. So yeah, I think this was a good comeback episode for NXT, because they have been, I'm not going to lie, they haven't really been that exciting recently, other than that one Grayson Waller promo. But this was a good kind of rebrand for them to start building back up for Heatwave, with Heatwave coming up. Like I said, Kendall and Lonnie is going to absolutely cook if they let that just be a one-on-one match. That can cook. What they're doing here with this main event scene could absolutely be a lot of fun as well. Vanity Project, I do think we should be pushing, because they're just easy to hate and you want to see them lose. Let Miles Bourne get a couple matches in, have Saquon and Dion have a Hell in a Cell ideally match, and I think we'll be setting up right and well for the future. So anyway, that is my review and kind of thoughts of NXT right now. Without further ado, y'all stay beautiful, world.